Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, girls, welcome back. And thank everybody for your nice condolences and messages in return. So yeah, it's pretty sad. So my God's thanks anyway for those who showed any support, prayed for him, and wish best for him. So, but the show has to go on. So I'll try my best. So let's continue. Now, did any of you try to answer the questions for chapter number 12? As I asked, okay. Any questions that you had any issues with? Or anything that you think needs to be clarified again, or explained again, or discussed again?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Looking at it now, on page 196, it on question number 9 and 10, it says in the annular phase array, what is the firing pattern that steers a beam to the left or right? I just thought it was electrical, so it says electrical slope.
That's what it means. If you remember, my dear. Then we said, okay, yes, electrical firing. Right, okay. We said, okay, if this, for instance, okay, was, let's say, it's okay, the first. When it says, okay, this here was the last. Okay. But actually, it's okay, what was it that we made? A slope like this. Clear? And we mean said that, okay, as the beam in this case is, okay, will be steered this way. Did that make sense? Where, okay, on the opposite side, as okay, we said that this was first. And this was last, then okay, as our slope would have been like this, and our main cause that the beam would have been steered like this.
Okay.
Okay. But we mainly said, okay, yes, okay, because okay, we had okay, as we can say it's okay, a series of PCTs. Then we mainly said, okay, yes. Not that the wires are longer or shorter, but mainly it's okay, just it's okay, we can say it's okay. Diagrammatically displayed. Clear? Okay. To me, it said, okay, yes, this was first, this was last. This was first, this was last. I mean, yes, okay, cause the beam to be steered in different directions. Is that clear? So
Yeah.
means okay, this line here and or this line here, okay, that means it's okay. What just what you call it's okay the electrical slope.
Okay.
Now for the following question, the mean yes, okay. Focus is the beam, and we mainly said okay, yes. Now if you for instance okay had a transducer, let's just say that okay, yes. That this here is the first, there is the last. Clear? That means yes, okay, make or a slope like this. Clear? Okay, pretty much if you look at it that way. Okay, but then they also say okay, now what's going to is okay, determine the focus. Now that means okay, going to be. Now the thing about the focus is that okay, yes, it's going to be okay, you can say the same kind of pattern from both sides. So that means okay, makes yes, okay, the curvature, and we said okay, yes, the smaller the curvature, which means it will mean it's okay that there will be as okay a shorter phase delay. That will mainly lead to a deep focal point. Whereas okay, as if the phase delay was great, the beam of focus at a shallow depth. So that's okay. I mean, it's okay, becomes the curvature that determines the what you want to call it, that's okay, point of focus. Because focus was meaning it's okay, one of the main functions of okay as the beam. That's why it's okay in chapter 9, we saw when we talked about beam, we said okay, there's a focal point. Likewise, steering of the beam or steering as far as that's concerned, that's also going to be as okay, we can say as okay, a function is okay related to the beam. Did that make sense?
Just to clarify, so the bigger the curve, the shallower the beam.
Exactly.
Oh, the focus.
Focus. Greater curve, shallower focus. Smaller curve, deeper focus. But what makes this curve here smaller or bigger? It means it's okay, the phase delay. What was the phase delay? The time between firing off one PCT to the neighboring PCT. Okay, if there was a greater delay, now I mean it's okay, cause it eventually it's okay, this beam here is okay, will focus at a shallow depth. Whereas if you for instance okay had a lesser delay, okay, then you can mean says overall yes, okay, your curve is going to be smaller. But that means it's okay diagrammatically, right? Okay, which means it's okay, what mean is okay, B is okay, how the beam focuses at a deep point. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Anything else?
No. Oh, well, it has nothing to do with this chapter.
Okay, whatever, that's fine.
I'm keep getting stuck on the half value layer thickness. Like when I look at like thinking about questions and stuff. So is it just like, say for instance, it's 6 decibels per centimeter squared? Is that just half of that? Like how
No.
would you do? No,
No.
okay.
You say, find the 6 decibels per centimeter. What that is going to be as okay an attenuation coefficient. Because attenuation coefficient will mean is okay, how much does a sound attenuate per centimeter? Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so in your attenuation coefficient, we can mainly say, okay, the distance is fixed. It's not going to be as okay per 2 centimeters or per 1.5 centimeters, so on, so on, so. In attenuation coefficient, the distance is fixed, which is 1 centimeter. What the attenuation coefficient just is about is okay, after the sound has traveled at depth of 1 centimeter, how much did it attenuate? That is going to be referred to as the attenuation coefficient. Okay, it can be 6 decibels, it can be 3 decibels, it can be 1.5 decibel, it can be whatever. Did that make sense?
Yes.
So mainly it's okay, just a way to say it's okay on an area, it's okay, how much would the sound attenuate for each centimeter that it travels? That is going to be called the attenuation coefficient. Clear? Now, if you look at, okay, yes, attenuation, that was going to be as okay because it's okay, are directly proportional to 2 factors. One was what we call pass length, or which we could say, okay, distance traveled by sound. But it's okay when we say attenuation coefficient, that distance is fixed as per 1 centimeter. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Good. The other factor was that it was okay as equal to frequency. And also equal to directly proportional to frequency. Which mainly mean that okay, as if you for instance, okay, increase the frequency or use a higher frequency transducer, that attenuation coefficient might increase. Let's say that this was okay, the attenuation coefficient with a, let's say it's okay. Okay. This for instance, okay, if we had okay as a 7 megahertz transducer. Okay, you increase the frequency. That means okay, it's going to okay increase the attenuation coefficient as well. So that's okay, may increase, let's say it's okay, increase the frequency. So let's say 10 megahertz. It will increase the attenuation coefficient. So let's say from 6 to let's say 8. Although it's okay, we had the formula of how to okay calculate with help of okay as a frequency, the attenuation coefficient, which means it's okay, just said well, okay, that attenuation coefficient was equal to the frequency divided by 2. So practically, it's okay with a 7 megahertz, it should have been, let's say, 3.5. Clear? Where okay with a 10 megahertz frequency, it's okay, the frequency would have been 5 decibels per centimeter, actually. But you can maybe say, okay, the greater the frequency, the greater the attenuation coefficient. Where okay, here is okay, we says okay, the distance for your attenuation coefficient is fixed as 1 centimeter. Did that make sense?
Kind, like I get the whole centimeter being fixed at 1.
Now, you said half value layer thickness. A half value layer thickness is just another way, or you can say it's okay, quantifying your attenuation in a simpler way. Right, okay. And what that actually is, okay, all meant was now the actual thing that is okay that we are expressing here is layer thickness, which means as okay will just be as okay the distance that just give me a second. Okay, so the layer thickness, that's the actual thing that we are looking for, right? Okay, is like you can say the distance that the sound wave travels. Then comes just okay the other factor, which is a half value. Okay, it's going to be as okay to attenuate to half the initial. Okay, but your unit for yes, okay, half value thickness is not going to be decibels or anything. It's just going to just okay be the unit of distance. Okay, where okay, yes, in this case, as you can say, okay, the degree of attenuation is fixed. Attenuate to half. So you can mainly say, okay, if you for instance, okay, had a sound wave that started its journey at, let's say, okay, with an intensity of 10 millimeters or 10 milliwatts per centimeter square. Did that make sense? Now, your half value thickness here is mainly going to be as okay, how long of a distance will this sound wave here travel before it attenuates to half the initial, which is going to be as okay, you're left with 10 milliwatts per centimeter square. So this distance here, that's what actually is okay, can vary. That makes sense.
Yes.
Good. We then can say, okay, now let's okay, just to compare. There we start with okay, yes. Yes, okay. The same intensity. But yes, okay, where this may yes, okay, attenuate to half the value, which is still going to be yes, okay, 5 milliwatts per centimeter square. But let's say it's okay, just add a shorter distance. We can say it's okay here, the distance for instance was 3 centimeters, whereas okay, here it may be just, let's say it's okay, 1.5 centimeter. Did that make sense? Right. Okay.
Where are you getting, I know you're making it up, but how will we, like, will that be in like the question for us to know like the 1.5?
You can, it can be given. It can be given, my dear.
Okay.
it's, but then the question then comes, okay, yes, in which of these two instances here do you have a great half-value layer thickness? That's going to be in this case here. Where here you can say, okay, this is a low half-value layer thickness. Why? Because, okay, 1.5 centimeters less than 3 centimeters. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yes, okay. In this case, yes, okay. The distance may change, but the degree of attenuation was fixed. Whereas an attenuation coefficient, the distance is fixed, whereas, okay, the degree of attenuation may change. Now you can mainly say as, okay, here, this sound wave here was more slowly attenuating because it took it. I was able to travel a longer distance before it got to half the initial intensity. That would mainly mean that, okay, in this case, yes, okay, what is it that we have is that is going to be as, okay, a lower attenuation. Or we can say, okay, a lower attenuation coefficient, for instance. Right? There here. Now you had a shorter half-value thickness because the value of the layer thickness or the value of the distance that the sound traveled before attenuating to half is lesser. That will mainly mean that, okay, yes, that is going to be, okay, a greater attenuation coefficient here. Now, what mainly has, okay, caused this greater attenuation or lower attenuation coefficient here was mainly as, okay, going to be, because it's, okay, in this case, like, we had lower attenuation coefficient because we had that could be a lower frequency. Or the higher attenuation coefficient because we had a greater frequency. So that's why we mainly can say that, okay, yes, that your attenuation coefficient, as, okay, was directly proportional to frequency. You can also, as, okay, establish from all this here, that's, okay, that our attenuation coefficient is inversely proportional to the half-value layer thickness. Which then just also, as, okay, will make, as, okay, your half-value layer thickness be inversely proportional to the frequency. Did that make sense?
Yes.
No, you can be asked in any way. Okay, we can say it's, okay, a sound has, let's say it's, okay, a great attenuation coefficient. What will be its half-value layer thickness? Or will it be higher, low, or remain the same? They may say, okay, this high attenuation coefficient maybe as okay due to as okay higher low frequencies. So you can be asked, okay, if you have a high frequency transducer versus a low frequency transducer, which of these two will have a greater half value thickness? Which of these two may have, okay, as a greater attenuation coefficient? So it's all my idea. It's all about, yes, okay, the relationships. Well, okay, it's in your half value thickness, it was the degree of attenuation of the sound that remained constant. That it attenuated to half. This factor here was fixed or constant. It doesn't really matter. Okay, you could have had, okay, as a starting intensity of 20 watts per centimeter square. The H is okay, half of that is just going to be, it's okay, 10 watts per centimeter square. But then it's okay, the distance at which it's okay, the attenuation half, that will be, it's okay, your half value thickness. That half value thickness, that distance that the sound travels before it's okay, its intensity is reduced to half, is going to be as okay inversely proportional to the frequency. Because high frequency transducer will cause more attenuation of a sound wave, which mainly would mean that okay, energy that it loses is going to be faster. As okay happen at a shorter distance. So that's okay, you will have a low half value thickness. Yeah, okay, with a low frequency transducer, that's okay, that sound that's okay attenuate to a lesser extent as it travels. So meaning it's okay, we'll call it okay as it will travel to a greater depth before it attenuates to its half. If that makes sense.
So what I got from what you explained is just about the relationships.
Very much.
So I thought, like, for me, when I was looking, like, trying to figure out last night, I was trying to figure out the distance between after it goes half, like the 10, and then it, attenuates to 5. I was trying to figure out, like, the distance
No,
in between.
it's just going to be inversely proportional.
Okay.
Now, what me actually is okay, may see, for instance, okay, in the next chapter, you can say, okay, that we had, okay, as a starting intensity of, okay, as 10 milliwatts per centimeter square. Let me just say, it's okay, that we increase that to, is okay, 20 milliwatts to centimeter square. Where we can mean is okay, now the frequency of both of these trials, okay, exams here is the same. We keep that the same. Because it's okay, frequency, whether it's a 10 milliwatt per centimeter square as initial intensity, or 20 milliwatts per centimeter, 20 milliwatts per square centimeter. If you said, okay, that the frequency is constant, we said, okay, that we keep it at, let's say, okay. That's okay, 10 megahertz. Now the question will come, or the question will arise. Which of these two sounds here is okay will attenuate more quickly? Or we can say is okay, at a shallower depth. That would be this one here. Okay. We can say okay, well, attenuate at a shallower depth compared to this one. Which you'll be able to just okay travel to a greater depth. Why? Mainly because okay, this was a lower intensity, this was a higher intensity starter. Did that make sense? Or you can mean as okay, just say, well, okay, as two people. One start their journey with $10, one start their journey with let's okay, $20. Now we can say, okay, the rate at which they are being charged per mile is the same. Because the frequency was the same. Okay. So if they charge you, it's okay, $1 per mile that you travel, it's okay, you're going to run out of money at a distance of 10 miles here, whereas okay, here you're going to run out of the money at a distance of 20 miles. But what caused this to travel a greater distance? What caused this to travel a shorter distance? Is mainly because this was a lower intensity, this was a higher intensity. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Whereas if we said that, okay, yes, we use the 10 megahertz frequency for this, and let's say it's like, oh, that's not realistic, but okay, as we increase the frequency here, your main says, okay, both of these here is okay, would, because it's okay, attenuate at the same distance. Because they're going to charge this one here, so it's like $2 per mile, for instance. Or we can say, okay, the attenuation coefficient for this becomes the same as the attenuation coefficient for this. Or degree. Of attenuation coefficient, which means will mean that okay, they will attenuate at the same depth. Although this here was a greater intensity than this. For me, it's okay because we said okay, for 10 millimeters for 10 millivolts per centimeter square, we had okay as a low frequency. For the 20 milliwatts per centimeter square of intensity is okay, we use a higher frequency. As a matter of fact, it's okay. This higher frequency is the double of this lower frequency. where, okay, this intensity here was double. Right, okay, so the high intensity was double of the lower frequency. So that may cause, okay, they will attenuate completely at the same depth. Well, yes, okay, if you know your relationships, then you should be more than good. Anything else? Anything else?
No.
Okay, girls. So can we jump on to chapter 14? Which is mainly as okay a chapter which is we can say is okay about theory, but it's also as okay going to be as okay related to as okay different functions of the, or we can say as okay or ultrasound machine or a piece of equipment. So what we mainly as okay have talked about so far, or what we pretty much okay has just discussed. We said okay as we have, for instance, okay, a transducer. We already know that okay, these transducers here is okay, what they do is they produce pulses, and okay, those pulses is okay. Will eventually it's okay, also it's okay, be shaped into a beam, which okay, yes. But the main point is going to be here. That we, for instance, okay, we're just going to follow, let's say, it's okay, one pulse. Now, what that pulse is going to be doing is it's going to just okay come across. We can say it's okay different tissue boundaries. Yeah. Now, what we already know is okay, as we can say, it's okay that we have okay as a pulse with, let's say, it's okay a great intensity. Yep. Now, this sound wave here is going to just okay hit a tissue boundary. Some of the energy that this sound wave here was carried is going to just okay get reflected back. A smaller or bigger portion of this energy is going to be reflected back, and okay, yes, the remaining of the sound energy is going to just okay travel ahead. There we can say is okay. At this tissue boundary here is okay, we may get a reflection as well. Which is made as okay, just made up of okay as a certain portion of okay as this energy carried by the, or was the transmitted wave, or which means okay, it just became okay as a new incidence because it still travels towards a sound, towards a tissue boundary. Okay. But it means that's okay, just continue its journey with a lesser intensity. Why lesser? Because some of the energy that this was carrying was reflected back. Which means cause okay, yes, it hits the next tissue boundary, yes, okay, it produces a reflection as well. And that's how it goes on and on and on. Eventually, as okay, what we will see is that okay, yes, the energy that okay was transmitted here is okay. We can say it's okay, it dies out. Or we can say okay, it totally attenuates. But please keep in mind, it was not lost, it was not destroyed. It was just reflected backwards. Oh, yes, okay, we can say that. Back to the transducer. Did that make sense? Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when we mainly as okay, or as okay, if you look at okay, as what we already said, and okay, as chapter 6 as well, okay, as that okay, as the intensity of okay, these reflections here. The intensity of okay, these reflections here was extremely, extremely, extremely low. As a matter of fact, yes, okay, so low of an intensity that had it not been for yes, okay, the functions that we will talk about in this chapter here, you would actually not have had an image. So what actually is okay is going to be is okay. One of the main discussions of this chapter is okay, how is it that okay, yes, we are able to just okay cause these weak interflections here, which actually is okay, become yes okay strong enough that they okay as show up as reflections of okay as certain brightnesses that are okay as more representing of okay as, because it's okay the extent of okay as energy that was reflected back, and actually helps us give us an image. Clear? Okay. But what we already have said is okay as these reflections here is okay travels through the transducer. Okay. What is okay the PCT will do is they will mainly is okay convert these sound energy waves here back into electrical signals. Is that clear? Okay. That means yes, okay, that's going to yes, okay, travel to the system back, yes, okay, back to the system through that electrical wire between yes, okay, your transducer and the system. So yes, okay, all of the functions that we're going to be talking about today in this chapter here is going to be as okay related to your ultrasound machine. Okay, some of the functions which are going to be as okay, we can say it's okay adjustable on the ultrasound machine, and some functions that are not adjustable, which means it's going to mean that okay, as it will happen pretty much automatically. So the system in me is okay, just designed to just okay, do some automatic handling of the reflections back. But okay, the whole point of it is that okay, yes, you will get okay, yes, reflections of different intensities on our image, which actually is okay, will help us produce the required image of okay, as we can say, the structures that we scanned. But one thing to remember, ladies, and okay, that's going to become handy later on, is that okay, yes, we can say okay that the intensity of the incidence, which means okay came from okay the amount of electrical energy that was okay as produced by the system, which we as okay in one way or the other, if we wanted to, could increase or decrease. We could increase it to let's say as okay an intensity of let's say as okay 50 milliwatts per centimeter square, or we could reduce it down to yes, okay, 5 milliwatts per centimeter square. Okay. But when we look at, okay, as the reflections. Perimanius, okay, in chapter 6 said, okay, as things such as intensity reflection coefficient. And we said, okay, that was normally as okay. Lesser than, okay, yes, I guess, okay, the most was, okay, as 1%. The most. Okay. So what you can mainly see as, okay, 1% of, for instance, 50, that's going to be as, okay, 0.5 milliwatts per centimeter square. Not to talk of, okay, as 1% of 5 milliwatts per centimeter square is going to be as, okay, even less is going to be as, okay, 0.05 milliwatts per centimeter square. So what you may as, okay, will need to remember is that, okay, as the intensity of your reflections that reflect back from the tissues is going to be as, okay, nothing compared to as, okay, the intensity of the incidence. So the main thing is, okay, that this low intensity here has just, okay, be increased. Likewise, okay, this low intensity here also has just, okay, get increased. Mainly, so you can say, it's okay, form, okay, as what will become, okay, as a meaningful reflection that will actually be so be able to show up on the image. But and we also see as, okay, as the sound travels from tissue boundary to tissue boundary to tissue boundary to tissue boundary, or deeper and deeper and deeper. Is, okay, what started its journey as a 50 milliwatt per centimeter square may end up at just as, okay, 0.5 milliwatt per centimeter square. Clear? Did that make sense? Where it says, okay, if it only is, okay, if it's just 1% or 0.5%, because, okay, as 1% well, okay, the maximum, okay, attenuation coefficient that we normally get. So it's, okay, 0.5% of that, so, okay, 25% of that, that's going to be as, okay, extremely low. I mean, that's okay, because as the sound wave attenuates as we travel, we mean that's okay, we say it's okay. How do we ensure that structures of that's okay, we can say it's okay, the same amount of, okay, as attenuation, which means that, okay, makes it similar tissues, for instance, will produce similar brightnesses on your image. Okay. So that's okay. That's going to be as, okay, some other functions that we are adjustments that we actually is, okay, will be able to as, okay, perform on our systems, and which means it's, okay, will ensure that although we says, okay, let's say that we have a muscle at this depth here, and we have a similar muscle at this depth here, or we can say, it's okay, here versus here. No, we can say, it's okay, they were similar structures. I just take muscle as an example. But this one here is, okay, that will show up to be brighter on your system. Whereas this one here is, okay, will show up to be darker. Why? Because they have the same attenuation coefficient, but this one here is, okay, maybe hit by, let's say, is, okay, an intensity or an incidence of, let's say, it's, okay, 25 milliwatts per centimeter square. Whereas this one here may be hit by, is, okay, just 5 milliwatts per centimeter square. Although it's, okay, our initial intensity was 50 milliwatts per centimeter square. Clear. So yes, okay, if this shows brighter and this shows darker, we may as okay consider it may actually as okay to us first appear that okay, these are two different structures or two different tissues. Because yes, okay, we may see this as okay as a strong reflector, we may see this as a weaker reflector. That's not the case. They are similar tissues, similar structures. So they should have produced as okay reflections of equal brightness. But mainly because okay, as the sound attenuates as it comes deeper and deeper and deeper, this will appear darker. So there's going to be as okay functions that we actually as okay will is okay be able to adjust and ensure that okay as this structure here and this structure here is okay will appear with somehow as okay equal brightnesses or darkness. Is that clear? So it's okay for you girls, yes, okay, to understand this chapter here, it's okay, you have to, yes, okay, understand your chapter 6. Or we can mainly say, okay, this one here is mainly as okay, a revision or reversion of okay, as the thing that happens in chapter 6. What was it that we said in chapter 6? Was that okay, as the intensity decreases. What did we call that decrease in, let's say, as okay, power, intensity, and or amplitude? That was what we called attenuation. Yeah. Right? Right, girls?
Yes.
Yep. Another thing that we also said was okay, yes, the yes, okay, amount of energy that was reflected was made as okay, just a very, very, very small fraction of the energy that actually is okay hit the tissue boundary. Clear, we could call that is okay the intensity of the reflection. It was, if it was, for instance, okay, measured directly in milliwatts per centimeter square, or we could call it the power of the reflection. If it was okay as expressed in okay simply as okay milliwatts or any unit of power. Clear? Okay. But as I said, okay, how that okay as they will appear as okay, because it's okay to some extent as okay accurately, and we are not going to just okay get that okay two structures may have, which are of similar nature, but actually it's okay may appear to be different tissues or different structures, or we can say okay on a scan, yes, okay, that will be as okay one of the things that we'll be talking about. But our main as okay thing is going to be as okay what happens to the sound wave as it returns to the signal or returns to the system. Okay, now so the mainly is okay start the discussion of okay, first of all we can say is okay, how do we determine things such as your output signal, or what's going to say okay, we can say okay, regulate and or control that. Okay, so you may see as okay a list of okay, yes, 5, 6, yes, okay, you can say okay, parts of the ultrasound system. Where the first is transducer. Now we mainly as okay already talked of the transducer as okay primary as okay in chapter 8. What we mainly said was okay as the main component that's going to be relevant here is okay as far as the transducer is concerned is going to be okay your TCT. Yeah, because what was it that there was mainly as okay where the electrical energy during transmission was converted into sound energy. And on the way back, this sound energy was converted back into electrical energy. So series 1 here, that would mean it's okay what we would just call transmission. Whereas okay as series 2 here is made as okay what we would just be referring to as reception. Okay. Now girls. So is everybody clear about that?
Yes.
Right, okay. Now, 2 things. Now, I briefly, as okay, running as okay, mentioned them as we went over as okay, different topics in previous chapters. Where one is going to be as okay, what we will call the pulsar. And the other one is going to be as okay, what we will call a beamer. I also said that okay, this beamer here also is going to be referred to as beam former. Did that make sense? Clear? And as far as beam or beam former was concerned, yes, okay, we mean is okay, that was going to okay, mainly as okay, lead to yes, okay, the formation of the beam. If you want to put that way. That was going to yes, okay, make the beam. And what were the 2 major functions that were associated with beam? Was focusing and steering. So how is that controlled? That would mean it can control by okay, your beamer or beam former. Did that make sense? Okay. But practically, as okay, if you look at okay, we can say okay, the flow of the electrical signal. What we mainly see is okay that this pulsar here mainly as okay will send signals, which are going to be as okay electrical signals to the beamer. Oh, sorry. Which may as okay will send those electrical signals to the transducer. And the transducer may as okay will just send it as okay to, we can say as okay to the tissues. That will be as okay during reception. That will be as okay. That will mainly be as okay what we could say step 1. Clear? Then okay, yes, we can say okay, it goes from tissues. That's going to be at okay. That's sound energy, sorry. And now yes, okay, it comes back to the transducer. And what we mean is that, okay, it's going to be as okay, our main interest in the transducer here is going to be the what you want to call it, it's okay, the PCT, because that's going to convert it back to electrical signals. Now, although it's okay, not mentioned in your list here, but it's okay, what I mean is going to happen is that, okay, there's going to be as okay, a component. Oh, let's choose another color. That we mean is okay, we'll call a switch. But it's okay, we're also being here. But what this switch mainly is okay will do is mainly is okay is send this electrical signal to yes okay the major component in this system, this chapter that we're going to be talking about, which is going to be yes okay what we call the receiver. Now the main reason that we call it a receiver because that's going to be yes okay the component that will receive the signals which first started their journey as sound waves, but then the transducer got converted back into electrical waves. And okay, it's now going to be this receiver that will receive these electrical signals. Whereas, okay, when we compare this, okay, the intensities, we can say, okay, this one here is, there's no doubt about it, yes, okay, this will have a greater intensity, and this one here will have a very low intensity. So it's made as okay, that's going to be as okay 5 functions of your receiver. That in 5, that's okay. I mean, that's okay, you're going to call these weak signals here. Actually, is okay, become strong enough to eventually is okay get displayed on the display, which is going to be as okay your screen. Yeah. So the main yes okay thing that okay as we may end up okay talking about in this chapter is okay these functions of the receiver. That's the real meat on the bone in this chapter here. Clear? Okay, these weak signals, that's okay. How is it that they are increased to become strong enough to actually, okay, produce a image on the display? But how this as okay info, which was electrical signals, becomes as okay signal that actually is okay will be displayed as an image on the chapter and on the display. That's something that we mean is okay. We'll talk about in chapter 15. Likewise, okay, as the other component which they talk about is storage. How is the information stored? Okay, not really something that's going to just okay be talked about in much detail, but yes, okay, we may also talk about that in chapter 15 as well. Okay, so yes, okay, our main yes, okay, discussion for this chapter here is going to be as okay regarding yes, okay, most of it is going to be as okay regarding the receiver. Is that clear? So although it's okay, as your book says, pulsar and beamer after the transducer, but we can mainly say okay, systematically as okay, is the pulsar and the beamer that works first to send out pulses to the transducer, or we can say, okay, pulses of electrical signals to the transducer. And okay, as also is okay, determine as okay, things such as focusing and steering of the beam. That's going to all be as okay, controlled by the beamer. The thing that your transducer meter does is okay, as convert that electrical signal into sound during transmission, and sound back into electrical signal during reception. Okay, the major component that will receive those signals that return back to the ultrasound machine is going to be okay, what we will call the receiver. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is pretty much okay, as you can see, it's okay, the way that the signal flows. So there's okay, from starting as okay, as an electrical signal in your system, produces pulses, becomes beams that determine okay, things such as focusing and steering. Now focusing is again, as okay, we can say it's okay, we can adjust that. Steering, well, okay, most of it is okay, it happens automatically. Okay, but we can okay, reduce the sector shape, which means you call it okay, there's going to be lesser steering of the beam. Clear. So by doing so, yes, okay, will remain itself the system is, or the beamer is, well, okay, just produce a beam to just steer at a over a greater view of field. Okay, girls. Now just take some 10-15 minutes to just okay, browse through things such as okay, as your PRP, your PRF, things such as power, amplitude, and intensity. Right? Okay. And when we come back, yes, okay, we will talk about yes, okay, the first component here, which is going to be yes, okay, the pulsar. What that does and how that okay as you can say is okay. What are the factors that okay as the pulsar determines, and how is that we can actually just okay send our different commands to the pulsar, and then we go on from that. Okay. So I see you girls, should we say at 10:35. Okay. Okay, ladies, welcome back. And okay. So far, any questions?
No.
Okay, ladies. Now, the first thing that we will talk about is going to be what we call the pulsar. Clear. Now, once you see the word pulsar, just like you see the word beamer, you mean that's okay, that's going to be something that is going to be as okay related to the pulse. Right, okay. Although it's okay, what we already said in chapter 8, because it's okay, what we had was because it's okay, continuous waves, but it's okay when that is the backing material. That means okay, will cause the PCT not to continuously vibrate, but mainly it's okay, vibrate and produce pulses. Clear? It means it's okay. This pulse here would mean it's okay, going to is okay. Or we can say the size of this pulse is going to is okay, depending upon two things. The number of cycles and or the wavelength of each cycle will determine yes, okay, whether we have a pulse with a great spatial pulse length or a low spatial pulse length. Right, okay. That makes sense, which mainly says, okay, that was determined by the transducer. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes.
Good. So some of you may be scratching your heads and say, so yes, okay, if all this of the pulse or yes, okay, was determined by the transducer. Now, why was it that VSOK needed a component in our ultrasound machine that was going to send as primary the electrical signal to the transducer, which will immediately come from the pulsar. Okay, so this pulsar, ladies, yes, okay, that's going to determine two mainly as we say two major things, but it becomes three. Now one is going to be okay, where is our pulse repetition period? Now, since you are okay, pulse repetition period is determined by the pulsar, that will mainly also mean that okay, yes, it inversely or reciprocally also determines your pulse repetition frequency. Did that make sense?
So you just said they're inversely to the PRF?
OMG. Pulse repetition period and pulse repetition frequency are inversely proportional, right?
Yes. I got that.
Not only inversely proportional, but that's okay. Also, yes, okay. If you multiply these two, yes, okay, the product was going to be 1. Right?
Yeah.
Good. So, you can say it's okay by setting your pulse repetition period. We also, yes, okay, set the pulse repetition frequency. Whereas if you said, okay, we had a great pulse repetition period, we will have a low pulse repetition frequency. Or if you had a low pulse repetition frequency, we will have an equally great pulse repetition frequency. Whereas things such as, okay, yes, your pulse duration, things such as, okay, yes, your spatial pulse length, which, okay, maybe again, yes, okay, both were, okay, yes, we can say it's okay, related to the pulse. But those were mainly, as okay, controlled by the transducer. Whereas we can say it's okay, the time interval between pulse to pulse, or the frequency of pulses per second, which respectively will be as okay, the pulse repetition period and or the pulse repetition frequency were controlled by the pulsar. Did that make sense? Another factor that was going to, yes, okay, be, we can say it's okay, determined, or we can say it's okay, controlled by the pulsar. And all this here was going to be as okay. All we mean is okay, we'll just refer to as okay as the amplitude. Now, ladies, although yes, okay, we say amplitude, but what is it that also can mean? That we're actually is okay, we can say the power of pulse. So we can make this okay here, yes, okay, amplitude of pulse. You may know me as okay, the power of the pulse, which may as okay will mean the same as okay as the intensity of the pulse. That is also as okay going to be as okay, we can say is okay, controlled by the pulsar, which mainly will mean that is means okay, going to the pulsar that will determine whether okay, as your pulse has a great intensity, or it's going to just okay carry more energy, which may not mean that will have a greater power, which may not mean that will produce a sound wave with a great amplitude. Or on the other hand, whether that pulse will have a low intensity, which may not mean that it has a low power, it may not mean that okay, it will be a low amplitude wave. Did that make sense? Very mainly, I can say it's okay that these are the big waves or big amplitude waves or high power waves or high intensity waves. Joins wave after wave after wave after wave to produce XYZ number of waves, produces a pulse. or less amplitude waves, wave after wave after wave after wave, joins to produce a pulse. But the number of waves or cycles that's going to just make up a pulse was controlled by the transducer, or more correctly as by the backing material of the transducer. Did that make sense? Where yes, the time between pulse to pulse, shorter pulse, longer pulse, which are going to be as your pulse repetition period. And yes, the frequency of pulses per second, more or less, or what we call as the pulse repetition frequency, were controlled by your pulsar. Did that make sense? Did that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
So now, although it says, so these are, we can mean it says, the three major functions that will be, determined by the pulsar. Or we can say, controlled by the pulsar. Whereas, how big the pulse is going to be in terms of time, or how big the pulse is going to be as in terms of length, which is respect to the pulse duration and spatial pulse length. That may is determined by things within the transducer. But how frequently is it that the pulse will just produce a pulse? Pulse transducer will produce a pulse. Or what's going to be as the time span between pulse 1 and pulse 2 and pulse 3 and pulse 4, which is your pulse repetition period, is going to just be determined by the pulsar. Now the reason that I maybe as wrote these two areas in the same color is because there's mainly as one knob on our system that helps us to as determine these two things there. And they are going to as be controlled by your depth knob. Did you girls get that? And what I said was that yes, if we turn the depth knob clockwise, or what we actually do is we increase the depth, right? By increasing the depth of the image, as per the depth of image. What was it that we did? We increased the pulse repetition frequency. But equally as reduce the pulse repetition frequency. Whereas if we went the other way and turned it as clockwise, anti-clockwise, that means where we decrease the depth of image. And by doing so, yes, what will automatically happen? The pulse repetition period would decrease. Which means we have an equal and opposite increase in the pulse repetition frequency. Did that make sense? So what we mainly can say is, what we do by adjusting the depth. Or okay, we turn a knob. But the message that we convey to the pulsar here is increase the pulse repetition period and equally decrease the pulse repetition frequency. Or decrease your pulse repetition period and equally as okay, increase the pulse repetition frequency. So by us, yes, okay, turn the knob clockwise to increase the depth of your image, or anti-clockwise, yes, okay, decrease the depth of your image. What we actually is okay do is we send a message to the pulsar to say, well, okay, it's okay. Accordingly, it's okay, adjust the PRFs and the PRPs. Did you ladies get that?
Yes.
Right, okay. So you can say, okay, what happens when I increase the depth? We can say, okay, we might have started from, okay, as a depth of image. Let's say it's okay, 3 centimeters. But we increase that to, let's say, 6 centimeters. Clear? That's what we did. We actually saw, okay, as the distance here is okay, it increased. Okay. But at the same time, that's okay, what the message also is being sent to the system is, well, okay, since we increased the depth, we will need, okay, as a greater time span, a greater period between pulse to pulse to pulse to pulse. Because, yes, okay, before it was 39 microseconds for a pulse to go back and forth for a depth of 3 centimeters. Which now has, okay, had to increase to twice that. Because now the distance that the pulse has to travel is twice. To go to a depth of 6 centimeters and come back. Whereas, okay, yes, we may, it's okay, decrease the image back to, let's say, it's okay, we can say it's okay, just 2 centimeters, for instance. So that becomes, yes, okay, the depth of our image. But what we may is, okay, just tell the system, well, okay, this is our depth. Now it doesn't need 39 microseconds for each, yes, okay, time span between each pulse to go and come back, go and come back. Okay, it's good with just 26 microseconds of a pulse repetition period. But that's going to be, as okay, an equal or opposite, as okay, increase in the frequency. Okay, so us, yes, okay, adjusting with the depth of the image by, as okay, turning our depth knob clockwise, anti-clockwise, sends message to the pulsar to, yes, okay, increase or decrease the pulse repetition frequency and or periods accordingly. Did that make sense? Did that make sense, girls?
Yes.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yes, my dear. Somebody said yes. Do you have a question there?
Oh, no, I just said yes.
Okay. So is this clear now? Okay, good. Now probably. So you can see as okay, this is just action repeated again. Right, okay. Okay, well, we started off with, okay, as in chapter 4 as PRP and PRFs. Okay, where you can mainly says, okay, by increasing the PRF, what has changed? Oh, sorry, by increasing the PRP, sorry. We says, okay, we turn the thing here clockwise, right? Okay, we says, okay, we increase the depth. Right? Which mainly is, okay, would increase the PRP, right? And equally and reciprocally, yes, okay, just decrease the PRF. Right?
Yes.
It. Or what in your PRP is increased. This was your pulse. This was your pulse. This was your off time. This is okay. This was going to be your off time. Now what we did was, is okay, we increased the depth. Right? Which means it will mean that, okay, yes. There will be okay, an increase in the PRP. But what if your PRP was going to increase? By increasing the depth. Yes, ladies.
I don't know if I'm right, but doesn't it increase the spatial pulse length?
You say that there will be an increase in the spatial pulse length. Okay.
It's increasing the listening time.
Exactly, dear. It's only going to be as okay the off time, or as Tatiana said, listening time. Because, my dear, this spatial pulse length, or as we talked about as okay in terms of time, pulse duration will not increase or decrease. Why? If you want these to as okay increase or decrease, you need to use another transducer. Because we said that these here is okay were determined by the transducer. So the only thing that was going to is okay increase was the off time. That means says, okay, now is it that we have, okay, yes, a greater off time between the pulse to pulse. Which means cause that, okay, as we have a greater PRP. But in your PRP, pulse duration are also called talking time, are also called on time, was constant. Unless, okay, we change the transducer. Because what I mainly said was, okay, it was mainly as okay. We can say, okay, due to this, okay, the backing material and or yes, okay, the thickness of the PCT. That here is okay, will determine things such as okay, the wavelength in terms of length, but also as okay, indirectly as okay, determine the period for pulse duration. Whereas the number of cycles per pulse, I mean, it's okay, going to be determined by okay, how much backing material they put in. But which means okay, we'll make okay as a fixed pulse duration or a fixed spatial pulse length for your transducer. So neither of these can change unless as okay, we use a different transducer, which may produce okay as a pulse with a greater wavelength per cycle or having okay, as a greater period per cycle. And or as okay, greater number of cycles per pulse. And how did we increase this PRP? Just by increasing the depth. By increasing the depth, we increase the off time. Whereas, okay, as we can go in the opposite direction. And says, okay, that we decrease the PRP. Mainly means that, okay, as first our PRP was long because we had a greater off time. Why? Because that pulse that was produced by the transducer will need to travel for a greater distance. But it's okay when we decrease it, we say, well, okay, we don't need that great of a time between pulse to pulse to pulse. So the main thing that's going to decrease is a decrease in your listening time or off time. Whereas, okay, as the duration or the physical or the length of your pulse remains constant. Chapter number 4. So just because you increase your depth is not going to affect your spatial pulse length or pulse duration, because they remain constant here. Did that make sense? So these two here by transducer. The time between pulse to pulse to pulse, which we call the pulse repetition frequency of a period, is determined by system. Now we know, yes, okay, which component of system? Pulsar. But how can that be adjusted? By adjusting the depth. Where we know greater depth, greater pulse repetition period, greater pulse repetition period, lower pulse repetition frequency. And vice versa. So lesser depth, lesser pulse repetition period. Or actually, because it's okay, shorter off time or listening time, which will cause, okay, the pulse repetition period to become smaller or lesser. And you will have, okay, as a higher pulse repetition frequency. Did that make sense? Did that make sense?
Yes.
So that's why I said, and that's why it's okay, I rolled it in different colors. That these written here in dark green, I mean, it's okay being controlled by our depth knob. Now the other thing that was okay was controlled by our pulsar was, we could say it's okay. Now your book used the word amplitude. Which for me is okay, just for me, we can say it's okay, well, okay, as the physical bigness of a wave, which says, okay, we have a big wave, or we may just, okay, have a small wave. But we already know that, okay, yes, this here is, okay, was directly proportional to the power. which mainly means okay, which again is okay, also was directly proportional to the intensity, which mainly is okay mean that a wave with a great power will most likely is okay have a great intensity, which way is okay make it a big amplitude pulse. Or vice versa. A wave with a lesser power will have a lesser intensity, which will have a smaller amplitude. So again, as okay, the amplitude of your pulse is all going to be as okay, we can say the amplitude of power or intensity of pulse was also as okay determined by the pulsar. Now goes when we say pulse, please keep in mind that okay, that's going to be as okay the pulse that will be, we can say it's okay sent out or as okay transmitted by the transducer. Is that clear? Which mainly will mean that okay, as the amount of energy, which is power, which is going to be as okay directly proportional to the intensity, which is going to be directly proportional to the amplitude of the pulse. That energy, or amplitude, or power, intensity is going to as okay be controlled, be determined by the pulsar. Now the question mainly is okay, as just like okay, as your PRP and PRF, which also controlled by the pulsar. Is this fellow here is okay adjustable? Is that something that we can is okay increase? Is that something that okay as we can decrease? Yes, it is. Otherwise, would we not have been able to say as okay that okay as a low intensity or a great intensity, or a great power or low power, a great amplitude or lesser amplitude? Because okay, had we said okay as no, Darwinian had meant okay, well okay, this is the intensity of the wave. Or we can say okay, amplitude of the wave. Okay, which is means okay, just going to have okay, as I would have had a fixed power. Which means okay, we just cause it to have okay, because it's okay, a fixed intensity. But since that's okay, it is adjustable. The question then just arises that okay, there gotta be as okay, something by which as okay, we will be able to as okay adjust the power, which adjusts the intensity, which adjusts the amplitude of the waves of the pulse. Did that make sense? So since that's okay, something that is adjustable, that gotta be as okay a knob. And that was actually as okay, because actually as okay is a knob which is called power output. So if you say that okay, this for instance okay was a power output knob, when we turn any knob clockwise, that will increase the power of the sound wave produced. Which means, of course, okay, as it has a greater intensity. Which means that, okay, it will have had a greater amplitude. Or yes, okay, we can say, yes, okay, if we decrease the power output, mainly by, okay, turning that knob anti-clockwise. That will mainly call that, okay, as the intensity of the sound wave. Now, please keep in mind, yes, okay, the sound wave that is being transmitted. Or we can say, okay, or is okay, the intensity of the pulse, or the power of the pulse, or the amplitude of the pulse will be lower. Which mainly means, okay, lesser sound energy will be transmitted by the transducer. But how lesser energy being transmitted by the transducer? Mainly because, okay, the amount of energy that came to the system here is, okay, was lower compared to, okay, if you had a wave with a great amplitude or a great power or a great intensity, or mainly because that was, okay, as a stronger electrical signal being sent out by the pulse. Did that make sense? But us telling us, okay, the system, well, okay, I'll convey the message to the pulse. I say, well, we want you to just, okay, produce a wave with greater power, which will give it a greater intensity, which will get, okay, cause the amplitude of the pulse or the cycles in the pulse be greater. Or made us, okay, by turning us, okay, the power output knob clockwise. And that sends the signal to the system, to the pulse, and say, produce a wave with a, or send out, okay, as a stronger electrical signal that will produce a sound wave with a greater amplitude of power. All contra are just, okay, turning it anti-clockwise. Going to just, okay, send the message to the pulse and say, well, okay, produce a sound, an electrical signal of less power that is going to just, okay, once that is converted in the PCT into sound waves, okay, just be a sound wave with a lesser power, lesser intensity, and likewise, okay, lesser amplitude. Did that make sense? Did that make sense?
Yes.
Right, okay. So that is mainly as, okay, why this is, okay, pulse mainly as, okay, is going to as, okay, determine this, which means as, okay, we as, okay, will primary refer it as, okay, as transducers output. But if you go to page 218, what is that you see as, okay, you see as, okay, a whole bunch of, okay, different synonyms for your transducer output, which mainly is, okay, is your power output. Okay, so what is that you need to know? You just, okay, you need to know. Or as I said, okay, whenever it comes to just, okay, the synonyms, yes, okay, you have to know that your power output or transducer output also we refer to as output gain, acoustic power, pulsar power. You can see it's okay. 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 Transmitter output. Why transmitter? Because, okay, it is of the transmission. Okay, output, yes, okay, anything that comes out. Clear? Okay. Power or gain. Now, and the reason that they say it's okay that gain is a vague term is mainly as okay because later on, when we talk about okay, we can say it's okay, the receiver. That's mainly as okay where we will utilize the word gain. So that's okay, it's really not gain, is probably not okay, the best term to use for your power output or transducer output. Okay. But you, yes, okay, increasing the power output because, okay, yes, the pulses that you produce are stronger. As okay, a signal with greater power, which will have a greater intensity. Clear? Or being produced by the sound wave produced by the transducer, which means okay, give it all these different as okay synonyms. Okay, so they are written in bold. Yes, okay, mainly for you that you yes, okay, need to remember that okay, as your power output, or what the heading mainly says is your transducer output can also be known by these different names here. Did that make sense? Now, acoustic, I told you, yes, okay, acoustical means, okay, just a fancy word for sound. Yeah. Pulsar power, yes, okay, greater pulsar power. Well, okay, greater power produced by the pulsar. Lesser pulsar power, lesser pulsar power, or power produced by the pulsar. We may call it, okay, as greater or lesser amplitudes of your sound waves. So that's why they mainly say that, okay, to begin with, that, okay, as your pulsar also, yes, okay, determines the amplitude. The amplitude of what? The sound wave that is going to, yes, okay, be produced by the transducer. Okay, but this pulsar here, yes, okay, mean is going to be, yes, okay, a component of your ultrasound system that will send out electrical signals to the transducer of greater or lesser amplitude, at shorter or longer pulse repetition periods to produce as okay sound wave with greater amplitude, greater or lesser amplitudes, with shorter and longer pulse repetition periods, and then inversely as okay higher or lower pulse repetition frequencies. So where is the pulse repetition period and pulse repetition frequency control from? Mainly as okay, us adjusting the depth of the image. So that was the knob that would tell the pulsar to increase the time between pulse to pulse to pulse. Or decrease it accordingly. Which we call okay, as an opposite change in the pulse repetition frequency. Where okay, as the amplitude of the pulse is going to as okay, is a strong electrical signal going to be traveling through the as it can be produced by the pulsar to hit the transducer to produce okay as a sound wave with a strong amplitude or a lesser amplitude is going to be dependent, it's going to be determined by the pulsar, mainly because it may send out a strong signal, electrical signal, or a weak signal. Could we adjust that? Yes. There was a knob that says power output. Now on your console or keyboard, if you want to put it that way, is our keyboard where we have okay as our regulars, okay, A, B, C, and function keys. We said okay as we had the depth. Then we had okay as, and now that we are going to talk a lot about is okay, which would be the B mode. Then we had okay as 2 Doppler modes, color flow and pulse wave. And then over here is okay, we had the M mode. Then we here is okay, had, this is okay for most systems, is okay, that touchscreen. We had 5 knobs. Now, right now, is okay, we mainly is okay, are going to is okay means is okay, will be is okay, the functions for most of these knobs is okay when they are in B mode. Because we haven't got to is okay, the Doppler mode yet. Now, this first knob here is okay, if you remember. That was me, it's okay, going to is okay, determine things such as okay, your PRP. And or yes, okay, your no. And yes, okay, things that's okay, yes, we can see. Okay. Focus. 2 things about focus. The number of focal points and okay, yes. The position, which means okay, will be yes, okay, the depth of the focal points. Yeah. But I also said, okay, over here was a knob. And a function is okay, written to this here was power output. So pretty much okay, as by turning that clockwise, that will increase the power output. Or turning it anti-clockwise would decrease the power output, which was okay as controlled by the pulsar. Whereas likewise, we can say us increasing the depth will yes, okay, lead to increase in the PRP and or a decrease in the PRF. Or the other way around. So decreasing the depth will decrease the PRP or increase the PRF. For us, yes, okay, twisting and turning around with the depth knob here was me as okay, going to convey as okay, the respected signals to a command to the pulsar and say, well, okay, we increase the depth, increase the PRP. And the greater the PRP, the shorter and the lower will be the PRF, and or vice versa.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the knob with the depth determines how the pulsar is going to, like if it's going to increase the PRP or
Yeah.
decrease it. Okay.
And when we say that we increase the PRP, the actual thing that increases or decrease will be the off time. Because pulse duration was constant as per the transducer. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Good. Now, ladies, what we can say is, that's okay, this was our power output. We can mainly say that, okay, yes, there was two things. That's okay, we could increase the power output. And, or yes, okay, we could decrease the power output. Now, what would it mean? Yes, okay, increase the power output. Well, that okay, yes, that were actually yes, okay, be increased energy. Well, okay, first electrical, but it's okay, the amount of energy in sound waves is also going to be increased. Okay, the only thing that happened at the transducer was okay, that energy was going to be converted into from sound to from electricity to sound. Clear? But then we can say, okay, if a tissue is being hit by a greater amount of sound energy, practically as okay, whatever causes okay, due to this greater sound energy is okay, there will be as okay, a greater reflection. Because it's okay, increased energy is going to as okay, be reflected back. Now that increased energy is okay, being reflected back means is over cause okay, that reflection will have okay, it's a greater brightness. Did that make sense? Now the exact opposite is just going to just okay be if you, for instance, okay, increase the power output. Because your main says okay, the transducer here is okay, maybe it's okay, will be receiving less energy and it's okay, then sending out less energy. That will mainly cause okay as that this reflection of okay, it's a similar structure as up here was okay, reflect lesser amount of energy. So there's going to be as okay, a weaker reflection. And maybe it's okay, due to it's okay, weaker reflection because it's okay, a reflection which can change or carries that's okay, lesser energy. Mainly because it was a tissue which was bombarded or it's okay, receiving a lesser amount of energy to begin with. That lesser energy of the reflection is going to just okay, cause this to have okay, as a lesser brightness. Or we can actually say that lesser brightness may or may appear darker on the image. Did you ladies get that? Now we can mainly also say as okay, another outcome of a greater power output is okay, as more energy is going to as okay, be transmitted. That would actually as okay, call that okay, as we can say okay, more energy may also is okay be absorbed. And you says okay that greater amount of energy being absorbed may is okay will lead to yes okay what we call is okay a greater thermal index. Where we can mean says okay the greater thermal index is going to cause a greater likelihood of bioeffects. Where okay the exact opposite means that's okay it just applies if we bombard tissue that's okay with lesser amount of energy. That mean that okay as that sound travels through the same tissue as we had up here. That would be as okay a lesser absorption. Lesser absorption mean well okay yes to some extent yes okay lesser thermal index. And the lesser yes okay that thermal index is okay the lesser likelihood of bioeffects. So that's okay. Two sides of the same coin. Did that make sense? Okay, but please keep in mind, go just okay, these comparisons between yes, okay, greater power output and lower power output. We mean it's okay, we'll say it's okay, that's going to yes, okay, me, yes, okay, it just makes sense if okay, yes. That we are talking about is okay, the same tissue. Okay. So the reason that a high intensity tissue, high intensity energy of is okay of the incidence hitting a tissue will produce a brighter reflection compared to a low intensity incidence is because in high incidence it's going to be as okay because your intensity reflection coefficient will be the same for the tissue, right? I mean, okay, as a fixed percentage of the energy that okay as the tissue is going to be bombarded with is going to reflect back. So you can see me it says okay, the stronger the reflection, ideally is okay, the brighter is it that it should appear in a scan because it's produced by more energy, more power, greater amplitude. You remember your B mode, right? Amplitude is okay, we says okay, that Z axis is okay, determine the, or is okay, display the, represented the amplitude, by which means of the reflection, by means okay, which is going to become the brightness. Okay, maybe says okay, greater amplitude, why? Greater intensity, greater power, a greater amount of energy of the reflection will produce okay as a greater amplitude, which will become more bright, and or vice versa. So lesser intensity of the reflection will be a lesser amplitude, which will mean lesser bright. So something which is lesser bright is going to appear more dark. Okay. So that's why it's okay at some point as well. Yes, okay. Us as okay, at least for now, when we say it's okay, power output, it will mean it's okay, be as okay to adjust this power output knob, which okay as may send out greater energy, which will cause okay as if that greater energy is okay hits a reflector or a tissue, with okay as whatsoever as okay reflection intensity coefficient will reflect a certain amount of energy as okay a certain percentage of that amount back way off the incidence, this intensity. Which if that was great, that's okay, will cause that's okay more energy to that's okay be received by the system and produce a bright reflection, or vice versa. But the other side of the coin is also as okay, the more energy that we transmit into the patient, meaning it's okay by increasing the power output. Also, it's okay, cause okay that specific tissue will absorb okay as a certain percentage or portion of the energy that is going to be bombarded with. Okay, I mean, it's okay as you say, it's okay. Now, the more energy is okay, a tissue absorbs, the more is it that it's going to is okay warm up or produce heat. And okay, a type of measurement of okay the amount of energy or okay heat energy produced by a tissue from the energy that is being absorbed is what we will call is okay thermal index. So the greater the thermal index of it, okay, greater is it that okay as the tissue may start okay as suffering from, you can say it's okay overheating, which was made is because okay more energy was absorbed. Why more energy absorbed? Because of a greater power output. Because okay we transmit more power, or such as sound power into the patient. And then on the other side of it. But this fraction here, this part here, okay, we'll talk a little bit about this, okay, as at the last of the chapter. At the end of the chapter. But again, that's okay, meaning that's okay, relating is okay, because it's okay, bioeffects with brightness, and likewise here is okay. Comparing is okay, bioeffects with brightness of image. Did that make sense? But one way by which we can increase the brightness of the image is by increasing the power output. One way by which we can for instance, if you want to decrease the power out, decrease the brightness of the image is by decreasing the power output. But we may get as a plus point of a decrease in the power output is as it may reduce the likelihood of bioeffects. Whereas we can say a negative point of increasing the power output is that okay, as it may increase the likelihood of bioeffects. On the brighter side, we can mean it says, okay, then increasing the power output causes, okay, as our images will be brighter compared to, yes, okay, if we reduce the power output. As okay, you can say, as okay, it may reduce the brightness, but as okay, it can also cause that all of our images is going to be darker. Did you girls get that?
Yes.
Okay. So hopefully that's okay. Some point that's okay. We'll be looking at okay as well as this. That's okay. Knob here is. That's okay. On most standard systems, that's okay. You will find it here. And the screen here is okay. Is labeled as okay power output. Usually, as I say, is okay. We keep that 100%. And the reason that we do so is something that we'll talk about when we come back after lunch. Because we're going to talk about noise, which is annoying. Okay, so it's okay, girls, again, yes, okay. I can say chapter 4 and chapter 6, make sure that you know those, because otherwise you are LOST. Okay, girls, I guess I see you ladies back at, should we say 12:45? Is that fair enough? Okay, girls. Okay, ladies, welcome back. Now, before I continue, does anybody have any questions? Of what we have discussed so far today? Nope.
They will remember him permanently for 40 days and that's it.
Okay, girls. Then let's talk about noise. Now let us just put it this way, girls. We can say it's okay, sound. In this case, it's okay, we can say it's okay when we say sound, that's going to be, it is wanted sound. Mainly because this sound here is okay, that is going to, it's okay, produce our image. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay. And what we mainly as okay, we'll see later on that okay, as this image here means going to just okay, we produce by as okay, increased. We can say it's okay, intensity, power, and or as okay, amplitude sound waves. But the thing that remains says, okay, that it is wanted. Whereas noise, now first of all, it's okay, when we say noise, it becomes unwanted. And one reason that it is unwanted is that, okay, it's mean it's okay going to be persistent. Now, one thing that will ask you is, okay, maybe a little bit strange here is that it's going to just, okay, we can say, okay, low intensity or low power. And, or, okay, low amplitude waves. But the thing that makes it, we can say it's okay, unwanted, is mainly because that is going to just, okay, we can say it's okay, degrade, or it's okay, actually it's okay, cover up the actual image. Which mainly is okay, is going to cause that, okay, yes, if this was your image, or we can say, okay, whatever structure. Now we can say right now, it's okay, that was with no noise. Whereas, okay, the same image, for instance. Now, what you actually will have is, okay, in terms of noise, is that it's going to be something like this. So right now, yes, okay, a lot of things that, okay, as otherwise would have been visible on the image are going to be, as okay, you can say, it's okay, not be clearly visible. Or we can say, it's okay, covered up or hidden by as okay noise, which is going to be as okay unwanted, mainly because it cover up or as okay hides or makes us okay a lot of wanted information hidden. And the thing about it is that okay is going to be persistent. Clear? Okay. So what we mainly can say about noise is that okay, yes, this is mainly as okay, that's what we can say. Okay, sound pollution of ultrasound. Did that make sense? But here's okay, the sound actually is going to as okay, physically as okay, visibly as okay, pollute the image and reduce as okay, you can say as okay, the visibility of the structures that we are scanning. Did you guys get that?
So when it pollutes, it does what again?
When it pollutes, it mainly as okay, is going to as okay, you can say as okay, reduce the visibility of just okay, the structures.
Okay.
Where were you a couple of weeks ago?
Here.
Here. Okay. What happened to the air quality?
Oh, it polluted.
Exactly. Right. Okay, due to that smog or okay, from that's okay, that wildfire in Canada. What did that do? It reduced the visibility, right? Did that make sense? So you can mainly say as okay, visibly as okay, that smog was noise. Because had it not been for that smog or as okay, pollution or polluted areas, okay, you actually have been able to see. It's okay, more clear. Okay, now the reason that we call it noise, now let's just say it this way, that me speaking, well, okay, that's going to just okay, be the wanted signal, the wanted sound that you guys want to hear. And you don't want it just okay, be as okay, interrupted. Or as okay, we can say as okay, interfered by noise. Now we can say as okay, if I am talking and okay, as put the ringer of my phone on. Somebody will okay, just continuously as okay, keep on ringing or calling me. What's going to happen now? My ringtone is going to be playing in the background. And what may happen? You may not be able to just okay, clearly hear the lecture. So in that case, you can mean says okay, that okay, as the continuous and persistent ringing of my phone, yeah, okay, that is unwanted because you really can't hear clearly what is being told in the lecture, which makes that noise. Did that make sense? Okay, but physically, yes, okay, if you is okay when we talk about noise on the image. Now, please keep in mind, girls, it may sound strange, but it's okay. These are going to, yes, okay, be low amplitude signals. Okay, okay, that's something that you got to remember. There is going to be as okay, low amplitude signals. Okay, but what they are doing is they are continuous when they are persistent, and okay, they are going to be unwanted. Why unwanted? Because okay, what they do is okay, color okay as many as okay, is okay. Make well, not really foggy, but actually is okay, has the same effect on your image as fog has okay as on a daily out there is okay in the open when you're walking, taking a ride or something like that. Right. So what does that do? That you actually is okay won't be able to just okay clearly see what is ahead of you. So the thing that okay as makes noise unwanted is that okay as without noise, yes, okay, we can say as okay, we may say as okay, we had a clear image. And okay, yes, based on okay, as these reflections, yeah, we'll be able to say, okay, this is the such and such structure. But as okay, if that same image as okay is now is okay, polluted or contaminated by as okay, these unpersistent, low intensity or low power, low amplitude sound waves called noise. That's okay. What does it make? It makes this image here unclear. You're not going to be as okay, clearly say as okay, what is it that I actually am scanning? Clear? Because it is, yes, okay, contaminated by the noise. Did you ladies get that? So ladies, please remember, yes, okay, that for noise, one thing that you need to remember is that okay, it is going to yes, okay, be low amplitude signals. Or we can say, okay, sound. That way it's okay, lead to noise. But as we said, okay, what makes it unwanted is that okay, yes, because okay, it reduces the okay, we can say okay, the clarity of the image. Did you girls get that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, one thing that is going to yes, okay, be important, ladies, it means yes, okay, going to be yes, okay, what we'll call the sound to noise ratio. Now, mainly as okay, when we do two, yes, okay, and when we compare two things like this in terms of a ratio. Okay, we can do a similar example and say, yes, okay. Okay. Don't say it's okay. Apples to, okay, that's perfect. Oranges ratio. Right, okay. Where we mainly can say is okay. Orange to apple ratio can be as okay as something that we say okay as 2 to 4. Let's say that okay, that is our apple to orange ratio. Now this 2 to 4 here ratio can also is okay. We can break it further down, says okay, it becomes 1 to 2. Which mainly means that okay, for every apple in the basket, there gotta be 2 oranges. So we have 2 apples, when yes, okay, to maintain an average or ratio, sorry, we will have 4. If we, for instance, okay, had 6 apples, or that's okay, 3 apples in the basket, yes, okay, we would have 6 oranges, and so on. But maybe that's okay, the average is still, or the ratio is still going to be the same, that okay, as is going to be as okay, for each apple, 2 oranges. Okay. So you can make as okay, that's going to be as okay, an equal and even as okay, or okay, likewise increase. So if you had 4 apples, that means okay, going to cause if you have 8 oranges. Okay, because for each apple, 2 oranges. For each apple, 2 oranges. For each apple, 2 oranges. So that'll be as okay, what you can call as okay, a ratio. Did that make sense? Did that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, ladies, yes, okay, what they do is, okay, yes, they talk about, yes, okay, what we can say is, okay, sound to noise ratio. And what we mainly can say is, okay, that we will be, yes, okay, so that is going to be, yes, okay, great. Ideal for diagnostic imaging. What's going to be, yes, okay, the ideal scenario for diagnostic imaging, or at least that's okay for us in this instance here, is that we want to have a great signal to noise ratio. Now, when we say, okay, do you want to have a great signal to noise ratio, what that actually means is more sound. Sorry, not sound, but actually it's okay. So here the word is signal, sorry. More sound with less noise. Is that clear? Now, many meter, okay, yes. We have a great signal to noise ratio. Now, our example here is okay with apples and oranges. Is that we actually have okay as a low apple to orange ratio. Okay, why? Mainly because okay, we can make okay when we look at the number as okay, if there's 1 apple, there's going to be 2 oranges. If we had 2 orange apples, we have 4 apples. We have 2 apples, so then there's going to be 4 oranges. So have 3 apples, there's going to be 6 oranges, and so on. Mainly because okay, our ratio was for each apple, there got to be 2 oranges. So this is actually that's okay, yeah. Low apple to orange ratio. Okay, now the reason that we actually say, okay, want more signal to noise ratio because what is it that this signal here was going to do? That way actually is okay, going to is okay because it's okay, produce the image. Right? Okay, and the more image is okay because it's okay, the more is okay reflections of okay image that we get with the okay as the least possible noise, the better. Did that make sense? But ladies, just if I flip this around and say it's okay, noise to signal ratio. Now what actually is okay would be ideal for is okay diagnostic imaging. For us mainly as okay, say produce the best image with the least noise is that we actually is okay, we need a low noise to signal ratio. Because just as we had here, we says okay, you had a low apple to orange ratio. But if you flip that around and say that's okay, orange to apple ratio, what we actually had was okay, if we said that's okay, that was going to be 2 oranges for each apple. That is means okay, going to is okay, we consider as a great orange to apple ratio. Where okay, the same yes, okay, comparison. But when it was apples first and oranges followed, okay, followed by oranges, it was going to be as okay, a low apple to orange ratio. Did that make sense? So we made as okay, compare as okay, the value, the number, or whatsoever of one to the other, one to the other, one to the other, one to the other. But if you switch the order, it's okay, what previously was high will become low. What previously was low will become high. Did that make sense? Did that make sense? Or we can say is okay, as the setting is right now. We can say okay, male to female ratio in our zoom setting here. Now, if you go male to female ratio, that's okay. That's going to be low because okay, there's just one man. And let's see, okay, let's just change the color because it's okay. 14 ladies, right? So you can mean says, okay, that the male to female ratio is low. Whereas if you just flip the order and go as, okay, yes, just flipping it. There is a female to male ratio. So what do we have? 14:1. So that actually is okay, becomes a great female to male ratio. Now the thing about the ratio here is that, okay, yes, if the number of men in the group, for instance, okay, increase from 1 to 2, and we still want to, okay, maintain this 1 to 14, that would mainly mean that we need, okay, yes, 28 females in the group. But we said, so still want to maintain this, we say, okay, that's okay, 14 other ladies joined us. If we just kept, okay, as it's okay, a man, okay, number of men, 1, now we're going to, it's okay, the female to male ratio is going to double. But we said if we want to maintain it, that's going to cause, okay, as we thought over each is okay, double the number of men. But you can still say, okay, for every 28 women, there gotta be 2 men. Or rather say, okay, for every 14 women, there gotta be 1 man. Okay, but me, that's okay, just by flipping it, just okay. Our previous would have been, okay, as a high ratio becomes a low ratio. So ideal for diagnostic imaging is that we want, just a second here, more signal and less noise. Because what was it that this signal here was going to do? That was me, that's okay, going to, okay, produce the actual image. And you can mainly say, okay, the lesser amount of noise that you have, well, okay, the more clear is it that you'll be able to see your image. So that comes as, okay, comparison between signal to noise, more noise or more signal, or you can say a stronger signal, and lesser noise is ideal, because the more the noise we get, then we can mean it as, okay, this here, if we said, okay, as a great signal or great noise to signal ratio, that will mainly mean that, okay, as what we will end up having is more noise, and that actually is, okay, will be less signal. But we can say, okay, the more noise is actually, it's okay, just going to, is okay, contaminate the image even more and actually make it less clearly visible. Did that make sense?
Yes,
Okay, Shaq, you raised your hand. You have a question here? Or did I
yes. So would we times 2, whatever the number is, like would it
No.
always-
That's just an example.
Okay, so it won't always be double, okay.
It doesn't have to be times 2. Okay. That was just an example. You could change the equation here. You can say, okay, for each apple in the basket, not 2, you could have 3 apples or 3 oranges. Then your ratio was mainly as, okay, just 1 to 3. Which mainly as, okay, for each apple, there gotta be 3, or for each apple, there gotta be 3 oranges. So when you put 2 apples, okay, then you now have to have 6 oranges. You had 3 apples, now you're going to have 9 oranges. You had 4 apples, now you mean it's okay, just going to have we can say it's okay, 12 apples. Oh, sorry, 4 apples, just okay, there gotta be 12 oranges. Because okay, we still kept the ratio between apples and oranges 1 to 3. So it doesn't just have to be double. It could be 1 times 10 or 1 to 10. It could be 1 to whatever, even odd number. It doesn't have to be fixed. Okay, but if you say yes, okay. Okay, so the main thing that we want is okay, produce for an image, or okay, for diagnostic imaging, is made as okay, we want more signal and less noise. Because the lesser the noise, or okay, you can say, okay, the more clear your image is going to be. Did that make sense? So one day, it's okay, you may come and okay, it's okay, wake up in the morning, open the window. And what you might find, okay, is that the window is condensed. There's okay, small drops of water is okay, condensed in the window. What does that do? There you can say it's okay, going to okay, reduce your ability to actually see as okay, what is on the other side. Or what does it look like outside? Clear? What can you do to just okay, get rid of okay, that condensation? You may wipe it off with a towel or with a wiper. Did that make sense? Okay, and now you can see as okay what the view is like outside. It may be as okay a shitty day because it's pouring down the rain. Or as okay, it may be as okay foggy out there. Okay, so what is fog? Again, as okay, your noise. Noise, okay, you're probably not going to be able to just okay. You personally is okay, are not going to be able to just okay, get rid of the fog. It will take its time. But you can mainly say, okay, yes, what is fog going to do? It's going to just okay, reduce your visibility. Okay. Compared to yes, okay, on a sunny day, it's okay, you pull your curtains, and okay, it's a clean horizon. You can see as okay, you can see the street, you can see what's on the other side of the street. You may even be able to see as okay, a plane is okay, 10,000 feet up in the air. Okay, flying. That would not have been the case if you had okay as a foggy day. Clear? Okay, so what noise actually is okay is going to look like on an image is going to be okay a lot of okay, there's okay white small sparky dots on your image. Okay, well, probably it's okay one day it's okay prior to your midterm. We can come in and we can actually it's okay talk a bit or like actually look at the machine itself, and it's okay. Look at okay as the practical of okay as your of these different functions here, and I may be able to just okay fix some noise on the system. Is that clear? Okay, so please remember, girls, ideal for diagnostic imaging is high signal to noise ratio, which mean more signal and less noise. But you will flip the words around. Then you actually just okay want low noise to signal ratio, which mainly mean less noise and still more signal. Did that make sense? Yeah, and if two things is even, you can say, well, okay, if it's even, that's okay. 4 apples in the basket, if there was an even ratio, or oranges, you can say, okay, for each apple, that was going to be as okay an orange. So your ratio is going to be as okay, if you say something is equal, that's going to be as okay a ratio of 1 to 1. Because for every apple, there's going to be an orange. Okay. For a sneaker bar, there's going to be as okay, packs of M&Ms or whatever. Clear? So a ratio of 1 to 1 is made as okay the same as okay as that the things are equal. Did you ladies get that? Any questions? Okay. Now, ladies, the question will just arise. What was ideal for diagnostic imaging, which we just said was a great signal to noise ratio, right? Okay. Or if you flip it around, that okay, as we were actually as okay, the ideal scenario would have been as okay. Low noise to signal ratio. They mean the same. But the question just arises. How do we get this? And the actual way by which it's okay, we actually it's okay, we'll get this is by increasing the power output. Because by increasing the power output, what was I going to do? Increase signal sent by pulse. What are the signal we can actually say, okay, either because the intensity, the power, or amplitude of the signal sent by the pulsar. Where that actually is okay will lead to yes, okay, greater signal. Okay. Clear. So you can say, okay, maybe yes, okay, the intensity of the signal, yes, okay, may increase 10 times. Where, okay, yes, we may have, okay, as a 10 to, let's say, yes, okay, not just as a comparison. 10-to-1 ratio. So the more we as okay increase the signal by as okay increasing the power output, will produce more power, and okay, yes, the more power we produce, just okay, the stronger will be the signal. Did that make sense? So practically, yes, okay, that's how we yes, okay, actually, it's okay, achieve this great power to, or sorry, signal to noise ratio. By yes, okay, increasing the power output. Did you ladies get that? Did you ladies get that?
Yes.
Okay, where we can still say it's okay here. Well, okay, yes. Signal is still 10, but noise may just be 1 still. But okay, that becomes okay. A low what comes first to what comes after, which is greater. Whereas if both of them have been 1 to 1, they will become 10 to 10, they will become 20 to 20. Or when you can say when the ratio of two things is equal or the same, they become equal. So when ratios are even or equal, it's even. That will mainly mean that they become equal. But here's okay, they are not equal. And what we want to achieve is more sound or more signal and less noise. So one way to reduce the signal to noise ratio is by increasing your power output. Did you ladies get that?
Yes.
Good. Now our next component was what we call beamer, or we can also call it the beam former. And if you look at the verb beam former, that I mean is okay, what we mean is okay, just what we mean by former is that's going to okay form. Or we can say okay as shape the beam to what it is going to look like. Clear? The directions in which it is going to be steered. And second, the focal points. So we had pulsar. And we already okay now what this pulsar does. Okay, it does deal with OPS, the PRP, and ERF. How these two functions are controlled by depth of image. It also is okay dealt with amplitude of the pulse. Now we can following say that, okay, yes, whatever signal is okay are being sent out by the pulsar. Still electric. Okay, then we go is okay through the beamer. Right. Okay, so eventually it's okay, the our mean is okay, because it's okay, distribute these signals here is okay. And okay, what we call is okay, the different electrical sources, which okay as will connect via wires to our PCTs. So what did we have here? What did we call this combination of electrical source, wire, and PCT?
Channel.
Huh?
Channel.
Channel, exactly. Very good. Yeah. Now, what was going to is okay, determine the way that okay the beam was being steered. Mainly as okay, which crystals fire first, and which crystals fires last. In this instance, okay, this would have been the way that the beam was going to be steered. And or if this was last and this was first, then okay, yes, the beam would have been steered like this. Clear? That's what we call the spike, as we did earlier, right? Where we say as okay, the curvature was going to just okay determine the focal point. Okay. Now we mainly said okay that okay as for most of our array transducers, you are able to just okay focus at multiple focal points. And once we just okay focus on multiple focus points, we can adjust them to move up. I just okay be at a shallower depth, so we can just okay move them further down to focus at. I can cause the beam to focus at greater depth. So this will mean as okay, going to be, or the positioning of the focal points will mean is okay going to be dependent upon as okay the phase delay. Which means it's okay because it's okay we're gonna have if we had short phase delay, it's okay we had defocus. But this short phase delay is okay, will produce as okay as a smaller curve of our channels here. Maybe as okay, the pattern in okay the based on okay the phase delays between firing off neighboring PCTs. And that means okay cause the beam to focus at a great depth. Whereas on the other hand, if we had a great phase delay, that would mean it's okay cause it to focus at a shallow depth. All right, that's going to be okay. So there's going to be okay a different curvature. But how are all these things controlled? It is mainly as okay controlled by the beamer. Did that make sense? Now, for most of our transducers, we can say that for most of our transducers, what's going to happen? The beam is going to just be steering back and forth like this. And what we mean is go all as we mean is we have those sector shape images. Even though we may use a transducer which ideally produces a sector shape image. For me is because we choose a different scanning protocol. That transducer may still just produce a parallelogram or sector shape image. Also, not sector rectangular shape image. But that's because we chose a different protocol. But the standard image will still be like this, for instance. Or which one? As sector shape image, the mechanical transducer, the annular phase array, or linear phase array. And we can even say it's what we're going to call it the curvilinear array. All this for this last one here is a byte was going to be taken off here. Okay. But it's along this image here. If you, for instance, chose, or for instance, focused at a shallow depth. And say, we want you to focus here. That would mean you tell the beamer, well, you know what, buddy? You need to increase the phase delay between the firing of neighboring PCTs, so that the beam actually can focus at a shallow point. Whereas, as on the other hand, if you want to just focus at a deep point. Obviously, it's we moved the focal point from a deeper point location to a deeper location. That's actually going to send the signal, send a command to your beamer and say, well, you know what, buddy, you need to reduce the phase delay. Did you guys get that? Now, as we may say, we may also be we want to focus at this depth here. And yes, we also want to, let's say, focus at this depth. Now, what the system mainly will do is, or what the beamer actually will do is, first send out beams that are going to just focus at this shallow depth here. That's all going to just be controlled by the beamer. How does it do that? Great phase delay. And after that it goes to the deeper focal point. And focus at that. How will it do that? Shorter phase delay. So that means alternates, but it happens so rapidly that as we will not be able to detect it. Clear? Unless that there was a structure at any of these two depths here. Shallow or deep. And if it was Did you ladies get that? Even ladies, okay, that thing that we talked about other day, yes, okay. If you remember it, ladies, that we said, apodization. And when I say apodization, yes, okay, I said, okay, that was going to, yes, okay, be controlled by the beam or beamformer. And does anybody remember, yes, okay, what the blue apodization was?
I don't remember.
You don't remember, okay. Is there anybody who remember what apodization was?
Apodization,
Apodization,
it's when the difference in electrical charge, the middle is stronger and then
exactly, right, okay. That was apodization. So what remaining is okay, that this signal that came from the pulse, yes, okay, whatever intensity or amplitude ever had, that would be as okay, we can say it's okay distributed. But as okay, as a result of apodization, was made as okay is just the mechanism by which we as okay reduced loops. May lower cause okay as that the central channel okay as the strongest signal. As we went from the central channel to the outer channel, it's okay, the signals will become weaker and weaker and weaker. Did that make sense? But that as well, yes, okay, it happens at the beamer. Okay. And what was the whole point of that? Mainly it's okay to reduce the formation of loops. Did that make sense?
yes.
Good. Anything that is updated will be as okay digital. So update is okay, actually as okay later on, not really. But okay, right now we are living in a digital time. Me in my younger years was living in analog time. Everything was real. Nowadays, most things are fake or digitalized. Okay. So yes, okay. But okay, yes, it has its own, yes, okay, because it's okay, plus points, yes, okay, be digitalized. But so yes, okay, updated beamer, I mean, it's okay, just going to be called digitalized beamer or beamformers. So we can mainly say, okay, anything that is related to the beam is going to be as okay controlled by the beamer. Clear? What was related to the beam? The direction in which it was steering. If you kept that in one direction, down direction, or one direction, if you kept on go back and forth like this, that was all is okay controlled by the
beamer. Clear? Likewise, the number of focal points, how many focal points do we have? And then on top of that is, okay, we have more, or even if we have one focal point, at what depth do we kept it? That's going to be as, okay, the focal depth or focal point. And what happens at a focal point or a focal depth is that means, okay, that's going to the point or be the point in the course of a beam where it is narrowest. Did that make sense? And when it is narrowest, that is going to be as, okay, the course and the beam where you have the lowest numerical value for your lateral resolution and or your slice thickness. Where these two resolutions here will be at their best. So they do not they do not remain constant at all depths. Clear? Now, ladies, earlier, I said, if this here is, okay, was our console. We have a regular keyboard, A, B, C's, 1, 2, 3's, exactly. We had a knob here. And we call that one depth. We already talked about, yes, okay, what that was going to do. Yes, okay, that was going to, yes, okay, send to the pulsar. And okay, yes, okay, help it, yes, okay, determine the PRP. And or vice versa, yes, okay, determine the PRF. We also said that, okay, over here, we had another knob, which we call, yes, okay, the power output. Which also says, okay, will send signals to, yes, okay, the pulsar. And yes, okay, we can say, okay, determine, yes, okay, the amplitude or power or intensity of the sound wave. Oh, sorry. Or eventually, so it becomes the sound wave after it has, yes, okay, travel through the, what do we call that thing? Transducer. We may say, okay, we have, okay, there's 4 or 5 knobs here. And the function of these knobs here is means, okay, going to be written on your screen. Now, right now, is okay, all what we are talking about, I mean, is okay, in this chapter here. It's all going to, it's okay, be in B mode. We will be playing around with B mode tomorrow. But this first knob here, in B mode, well, okay, yes, its functions will be written here on the screen. Now in B mode, this knob, yes, okay, here has 2 functions. One was focus, position. And we can maybe say, okay, the other one was going to be focus. Well, the system just write number is actually, it's okay, going to be numbers. Which may or mean, or it's going to be the number of focal points. Do you want the number of focal points to be as okay as low as Just one. Or do you want, yes, okay, increase it from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, or 7? Okay. Now, if focus number, for instance, okay, was outside the bracket, was going to be, okay, focus num. If that is outside the bracket, that's okay when you turn this knob here. This knob here. Anti-clockwise, it will reduce the number of focal points. Whereas if you turn it clockwise, it will actually, okay, increase the number of focal points. But as you have focus number inside the bracket, you may just, okay, will have the focus position inside the bracket. So what I told you guys was, okay, now how do we actually just, okay, switch it around and cause this knob here is, okay, not to is, okay, be adjusting as, okay, the number of the focal positions or focal points, but actually as, okay, that we actually can physically move them to shallower depths or deeper depths as well. Okay, you just press on it and, okay, as it will flip. So whatever was outside the bracket now is going to be shifted inside the bracket. And what was out inside the bracket now is going to become outside the bracket. So we said, okay, have focus, pause, which means, okay, just refer to position. And okay, then we will say, okay, that was going to become as, okay, be written inside the bracket, going to be, okay, focus, which is number of focal points. Now, when we twist this knob here, is okay, what that actually is going to do. Okay, as if we turn it clockwise, it will actually just, okay, move all focal points to greater depths. The focal points. And or vice versa. If we turn it anti-clockwise, it means, okay, it's going to, it's okay, we can say, okay, move the focal point to lesser depths. But please keep in mind, girls, that these focal points that can only be moved or they can only be shifted up and down within, yes, okay, the total depth of your image. So if your image is, let's say, it's okay, 10 centimeters deep, which we actually is, okay, achieved by, is okay, moving on, okay, at the depth knob. Now you had the option to, yes, okay, focus at a great depth that may be as great as 10 centimeters. Or as, okay, at any shallow depth, which could be 9, which could be 8, which could be 5, or 7. Okay. But what you actually do by challenging the system to just, okay, focus at a shallow depth is, okay, you turn the knob. You turn it knob mainly as, okay, just send that signal to the beamer and say, you gotta fire in this way with this and this and this and this phase delay to ensure the beam to focus at the designated point. Did that make sense?
Yes.
But ladies, please do not confuse depth with focal depth. They are two different things. So depth of image is just okay. How long or how deep your image is. And that's going to just okay determine things like PRP and PRF. But within that depth of image, yes, okay, you can focus at any point. You want to keep that point 1, you want to keep it 2. You want to keep those 2 points shallow, you want to keep those 2 points deep or even deeper. Clear? That's all that's okay to playing with your knobs. Okay. So yes, okay, tomorrow we'll just okay, briefly start off with okay with the switch and then go on to the receiver, which is okay the major fellow. Any last words of wisdom? So yes, okay, you girls got some readings to do, okay?
Okay.
Okay, have fun.
Thank you.
You're welcome, yeah.